What's up, influencers? That's right, we're talking about monetization on YouTube. We're going to be talking about money-making strategies with a very special guest, Roberto Blake. With over 30 million plus views on YouTube, over 500,000 subscribers, and almost 1,300 videos uploaded, this man has learned a few things about making money on this platform. Roberto will be sharing his favorite monetization strategies for his YouTube business, as well as his tips for you to determine what is the best way to make money for your business and channel on this platform we call YouTube. All that and more coming up on the VI show right now. That's right, influencers. Welcome to another episode here on a Saturday morning. We're helping build your influence, income, impact with online videos. Sean and I started this channel to help you crush it on YouTube. We're also the co-authors of YouTube Secrets, the ultimate guide to growing your following and making money as a video influencer. Get your copy on Amazon, Audible. We appreciate those reviews. And without further ado, Roberto, what's going on? Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Benji. Sorry there, I had myself muted.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, most people, they don't leave themselves or muted, and then you can hear them during the intro. But appreciate you being here. I'm excited to get into the conversation about monetization because, you know, one thing I've always been a fan of is don't be coy about making money, because making money is what fuels the dream and makes this sustainable. However, my first question for you, Roberto, is I love watching some of your old videos from like 10, 11 years ago. And I'm not going to show it today, but my question for you is this. What was the first way you made money on or off of YouTube from your YouTube channel?
Services. It was still services. Back then, back in the day, I was still a full-time freelancer for many, many years on YouTube. And so I was doing client work, video editing, graphic design, doing photo editing, doing a lot of writing actually for different publications. It got to a point to where I could make about $250 or more per article once I started getting really good at it. It didn't start with that much money, by the way. Started doing it very modestly. So it was a lot of freelance work, and that's actually a really good way to make money online. It's something I still try to talk about because Benji, it's the most reasonable and accessible way to start making money online is to produce results for other people.
Yeah, totally. And we're going to actually get into some of your favorite monetization strategies for other people, because I think, you know, after a decade, it's interesting. One of the videos I watched of you, you were talking about, you know, the reason I'm making this video is because the last good video is about 5 or 10 years ago, you know, and 5 or 10 years from that video, here you are, right? And so much has changed on this
platform. Maybe I need to make another one of those.
Yes, make another one. In fact, I think that'd be fun to pull up. It's one.
Which video was that?
Neutrally, maybe you could look for it, keep it on the side-by-side right now, but it's one of his first videos. It's about graphic design work or something like that. He's like in this room, looks like you shot it with a smudged lens. It's like a gray background. Anyways, but yeah, things obviously have changed on the platform, and I was just curious. At the very beginning, you were monetizing by offering services, right? Like as a freelancer, contract work. What's your favorite monetization strategies for yourself right now, and why?
I would definitely say that for me, it's probably affiliate marketing for software as a service. And the reason is because it becomes, if you do it right, and it doesn't happen overnight, mind you, but it becomes true passive income. And I know a lot of people, oh, passive income, that must be a scam. But no, commissions that you get for the relationship you built with customers that you keep getting paid for the lifetime of that relationship, lifetime of account with great brands like TubeBuddy or ConvertKit or Kajabi or other software as a service companies. You know, everybody uses their software and they pay for their software to do business. So as long as they're happy with their software, it's fine and it's fair that you keep getting paid. And a lot of these companies give you 30 or 50% of whatever those monthly accounts are worth. So for me, once you've done that by creating value with tutorials and things like that, for me, I feel like it's my favorite because it means I know that I have kind of a guaranteed minimum income every month. And with TubeBuddy, that's for me about $5,000 to $6,000 a month that I know that regardless of how much work I do or don't do, how much I hustle, how much I sell, how much content I make, I know that that's the baseline income I can use either for living or to support my business and to pay my people. So I like having that kind of assurance, whereas YouTube ad revenue is up and down depending on how much content you make, how interested people are, what is going on with the advertising industry. There's not as much control when it comes to YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah.
I like the control that comes from passive affiliate marketing, and then probably after that, e-commerce, and then services. That's what I like.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I love that you brought up affiliates is because I would say it's one of the easiest because you don't have to manage anything on the back end. You can really focus on the video. And one of the reasons I agree with you completely that it's one of the best, especially for a beginner, is if you focus on doing a product review that is adding a lot of value, it's very informative, it's covering all aspects of that product, the next logical step is for someone to purchase that thing that you're talking about. And if it's an affiliate deal, you know, potentially that video could go viral just because it's so focused on this one need. And even when you don't have your niche figured out and say you're just testing things, great way to monetize. Would you agree that it's probably the easiest way to make money on YouTube with as little effort as possible, in addition to AdSense? And I got a couple things to say about AdSense. Last thoughts about affiliates.
I'll put it to you like this, Benji, and I'll tell you a story. Now, Amazon affiliate rates used to be very different many years ago. It's since, especially following the pandemic, gone down significantly.
Yes.
In terms of how they pay you. But back in the day, back in the old days, when I was first doing YouTube in any consistent way, one of the things I did was I did budget camera reviews. You might be familiar with that. And I did a couple of buyer's guides, and sometimes even companies would loan me cameras or camera gear, usually the rental companies. And sometimes I'd rent stuff myself to review it. And what happened was those videos were so evergreen and so useful for people trying to get into their first camera for photography or video that was the first time I actually started making over $1,000 a month from doing anything on YouTube, because I wasn't getting paid that much in ad revenue. I didn't have a big audience back then. We're talking when I had less than 30,000 subscribers. I was making over $1,000 a month in Amazon affiliate revenue because every week I was doing some kind of tech video every week in addition to other stuff. And with the camera review stuff, even now today, if I were to get somebody to buy a professional camera lens, it can be $150 commission, Benji.
Yeah.
If I get them to buy a professional camera lens, it can be anywhere from a $50 to $150 commission for every single sale. So you don't need a huge audience when you're doing something like that to start making the kind of money that pays rent.
For sure. It's a great point. And this is for any niche. This is for any type of genre on YouTube. You know, my wife and I, we have a family vlog, and oftentimes people are asking me what blender I'm using for my green smoothie. And so this is a friendly way to get your foot in the door for monetization, even when you don't have your business model kind of figured out. The last thing I'll say too, with Amazon specifically, I'm not that familiar with the other forms of affiliate commissions, but I remember Sean telling me a story that not only do you get commissions from that product that you're reviewing, if they buy anything else afterwards, right? Like immediately afterwards, you also get a referral commission from that. And somebody once bought like a gold coin. So, you know, like gold coins can get pretty expensive. So that commission was pretty good. So yeah, high priced items, great commission. And then, you know, there's the discussion about books or courses. And so that can be big money because sometimes people will set up their own commission. Like for me, for example, like I'm totally okay offering 50% commission on a digital course because that's a sale I probably wouldn't have made if it wasn't for you, Roberto, like promoting that. Do you do anything there? Because that's even more profit. And like you said, now that's more sustainable because it's more predictable.
If I had done that and been early to that, I'd be a millionaire already, to be honest with you. If I have a biggest all-time business regret, it's not doing a YouTube course once I hit 100,000 subscribers. Because back then, when I did that in 2016, it wasn't saturated. It wasn't a lot of people skeptical about stuff. And I think I still could have given, and would still today, I'm still planning to do this now, given some of the best information and advice realistically on YouTube, because I can talk a lot about the business stuff. I can talk about different ways to make money besides AdSense. And as you know, I tell the harsh reality of what being a content creator is. So my course would have been one of the more, there's nothing wrong with the courses that exist, by the way. I'm just saying that mine would have been a different vibe for where YouTube was as a culture back in 2016. So I don't do that right now. Something I do offer is I have a membership for group coaching, and I do one-on-one group coaching calls. One-on-one individual coaching calls in addition to doing the group membership. But eventually I will get into the courses, and there will be an affiliate program for that, because you're absolutely right about how scalable it is, how profitable it is. But it's also one of those things to where for those individuals, courses work for the people that courses work for. And there's no reason not to deliver on that value if you believe in the product that you're making. One of my focuses right now, however, is because of my background in photography and design, is making an e-commerce website that focuses on graphic design templates and resources exclusively for creators, whether they're YouTubers or streamers or doing Instagram or whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things I really respect about you is you've got your hand in so many different, monetization strategies. That's why I picked this topic for you.
Yeah.
So
no, this is the one I love.
Yeah, affiliates obviously is your favorite right now. What is your second go-to, or what is like the big money maker for your business right now in addition to affiliates?
I would say it's the combination of doing e-commerce memberships and courses by being, coaching.
Yeah.
By being, courses would come later in the e-commerce bundle. Like by doing digital products in terms of the template bundles. Like I have my own YouTube starter kit, and that's a $99 product, and it's not a course. It's a template bundle with over 100 download resources, mostly Photoshop files, right? Then I have my membership with Awesome Creator Academy, where people pay a monthly or a yearly to be a part of that and be part of a group coaching program. And then there is the, then after that, there is the one-on-one coaching where people pay to work with me.
Yeah.
That started in late 2017. And so year after year, year to date, it's been $100,000 a year business without us doing the, $500 course, which that'll come later. And I'm sure it'll probably double the revenue when we do that. But I would say that business, Awesome Creator Academy, by having those three things, e-commerce, a service that we provide in terms of one-on-one coaching, and now we have a second coach, and a group membership program, those do $100,000 a year combined. And I have complete ownership of that, so I'm not beholden to YouTube. So that's something that we do, and I use Kajabi as the platform to do the hosting.
Yeah, digital courses, digital products is personally my favorite way to monetize any kind of business on YouTube, just because just like with affiliates, there's almost no work outside of managing the platform. I prefer Teachable. I know that you use Kajabi. Sean uses that as well for some of the courses we've got. But digital courses, the thing is, I do products, physical products, and you deal with storage, right? Stock fees, fulfillment, returns, international. If you've got an international, it can get to be a nightmare. But digital products, it is the best way. And you can even offer 30-day money-back guarantee, and it's not a big
scalable.
Deal. It's super scalable, and people are literally becoming, six-figure businesses, if not millionaires, by doing just digital products. So I know for Sean, I can speak on his behalf, between the affiliates and the digital products, that helped them become a millionaire. Just that in itself.
See, I need to expand more into digital products.
There you go, bro. Well, thank you so much. And hey, if you guys are listening to this on Clubhouse, welcome. Raise your hand. We're going to be doing Q&A very soon here. We've got the Roberto Blake talking about monetization. If you're watching this on the VI show on Video Influencers, leave your questions in the chat box, and we're going to be collecting those for the end. Hit that like button, subscribe for more interviews with people crushing it on YouTube. This is Video Influencers. So I want to move on to one more thing I want to discuss. because Sean and I were actually updating YouTube Secrets. For anybody that wants to actually purchase it right now, get the audiobook version, and then that way you can update the audiobook, and you'll get the second version, I believe, for free. But one of the things that we talk about in the monetization section in the 7 C's for YouTube success is the significance of AdSense. You know, when we wrote that book in 2018, we kind of downplayed it. But now, 4 years later, AdSense, I know for me specifically as a vlogger, just as a YouTuber, has been such a go-to foundational income source that now I don't discount it, because I believe, especially in certain niches, the AdSense income can be really handsome. It can be like a big part of your business. And again, like affiliates and to a certain degree digital products, you don't have to manage it. Like Google has figured it out. This is Google AdSense. These are the commercials that play on your videos. These are ads that pop up in different numerous places. But one of the things that every other platform doesn't have, but YouTube does so well, is AdSense. What are your thoughts on this, especially for somebody that's a beginner? You know, it takes a lot of views to like make it worth your while, but over time it can be really significant. Do you feel like it's maybe underrated?
No, I think it's overrated still.
This
is the one area we might disagree.
All right.
I still think it's overrated.
Yeah, tell me what your thoughts are on AdSense and why.
The average YouTuber, as you know, does anywhere from $1 to $5 on an average CPM rate, which would then mean like, or let's be generous, let's say $2 to $5 CPM rate, which means they have a $1 to $2.50 RPM rate, with the average of that tending to be lower, which means that every view you get is worth 1/10 of a penny. If every view you get is worth 1/10 of a penny, to be able to make any significant amount of money, let's say even your first like $100 on YouTube for the average content creator, because let's face it, Benji, not everyone's going to do content that is either one, very, very brand friendly, or two, very lucrative, like a Graham Stephan, where the monetization is very handsome, or even with me, where I get like these $20 and $40 CPM rates and these $10, $15, and $20 RPM rates. Not everyone wants to make that kind of content. They want to make goofy videos on the internet. They want to make memes. They want to make entertaining content. They want to make lifestyle content. They want to do gaming. Yeah. Those things are wildly saturated, so there's more ads to be spread around. There's not a concentration of higher tier ads, so they end up at the lowest common denominator. They end up at the lowest ad tier. And as a result of that, that means you're working your tail off to get 100,000 views only to walk away with $100. Now, I know that for a lot of people, $100 extra a month is $100 extra a month, and it can feel really good. But I want you to consider how much effort, time, and energy you have to put into making the YouTube video. And then for the average content creator, that's about somewhere between 4 and 8 hours per video if they're lucky. So by the time you really think about, well, how many videos and how much effort you have to get to even get to 100,000 views, you know, get that first 1,000 subscribers, even qualify for monetization, in terms of sunk labor cost, you probably end up at thousands of dollars in the hole of sunk labor cost before you get your first $100 check from YouTube. And for that reason, I think YouTube AdSense is overrated, and it's a carrot that gets dangled in front of creators only for them to largely end up being disappointed with how much it makes. I mean, they might initially be excited, especially if they're very young, but I think it's very impractical when you compare that to if you got 1% of 100,000 views to turn into someone buying a t-shirt or your ebook or a poster design or clicking an affiliate link. It's severely more lucrative in almost every other way to do that. Even if you get people to donate, if you got 1% of your viewers to donate you even
like a
$1, it would be significantly more
like buy you a coffee,
than what you make off of the 1/10 of a penny per view.
You know, well, by the way, this is why I brought up AdSense after those other monetization strategies. Now, ironically, both on Clubhouse and people that follow here, I'd say most of our viewers are professionals that could offer a service, sell a digital product, take advantage of affiliates, right? The reason I bring up AdSense is I actually don't disagree with you, especially if you're in another country. AdSense is
my Lord, it's
horrible, right? It's worse. And that's what's interesting to me. Even after a decade, the advertising industry hasn't caught up to the value of YouTube videos and this platform, because I know Google is offering this in those places. However, the caveat to all this is it's a pretty nice, you know, icing on the cake. I'm sure even for you. Now, you called out your niche being more valuable, but I would say that most of the people that we speak to, in fact, I don't like, at least here on Video Influencers, we're not really talking to the pranksters or the even vloggers or people doing like funny videos. We're typically talking to entrepreneurs who have some like professional skill to offer. We're talking.
If you're in a professional niche, AdSense can be great.
On top of everything else that you do.
Because you're getting paid to market yourself.
And that's my point with AdSense. And I don't expect you to share what you make on AdSense, but you were one of the first. Yeah, tell me. So tell me, what's your average amount? So you talked about how some of these other incomes can be like, you know, anywhere from a few thousand to, you know, 5 figures. What's your AdSense on top of it?
So Benji, it depends on whether I take a break. If to be very real with you, it depends on whether I take a break versus if
like give me your average, your last 12 month per month average. Does that make sense?
I mean, we could theoretically. I mean, I literally just read off these months, or I could even just show you. I could screen share and I could just show you, or I could just read them off.
Go ahead. Yeah, definitely read it off for the Clubhouse people. But
So in the month of June, because I actually uploaded in the month of June, but I didn't upload that much, mind you. In the month of June, I uploaded twice and I did 2 live streams. Okay. That is not good for me. I'm supposed to upload at least once a week. Sure. I would love to go back to uploading 3 times a week and I would also make more money. So I uploaded once a week and I live streamed once a week. I took a massive break still in June and I did $3,841.31 in the month of June.
And that's on a slow month, right? Not uploading consistently.
It's a very slow month, and that is with, I'll tell you how many views that is. So that was 200,000 views because I did not upload hardly. Like me live streaming twice and uploading twice is nothing. It's nothing. It's less than nothing. It's like very bad.
You're actually making my point right now, because one of the powerful parts of this platform that we realize even since writing YouTube Secrets is you're planting these seeds that could potentially bear fruit years down the road or ongoing, right? We call these evergreen videos. And so Sean and I have experienced it here on Video Influencers, you know, my wife and I on our vlogs, on my food channel, videos that just keep getting you views. And that's significant because, again, like the affiliates, you don't have to do any additional work. It's this one-time thing. And I agree with you. If you're the type of content creator who is competing in these very saturated niches, yeah, definitely not very lucrative. But even then, right? Like even you just heard Roberto's testimony of even in a slow month, that's still really significant when you put it on top of everything else. And I guess
you put it on top of everything else.
Yeah. Yes. And the one thing, the last thing I'll leave it with, and then I would love to hear your thoughts on, you know, just tips on monetization and how to decide.
Well, after that, I do want to tell you about what a really, really bad month and a really, really good month looks like.
So let's actually just dive into my last point I want to make is the fact that, you guys, YouTube is a search engine first in the mind of most people that use it as a utility. So you can count on videos that are valuable now, potentially being valuable later, as long as it doesn't get knocked off. And if you add those up with your 100+ uploads, right, as Roberto would say, then that could be really significant for your business. And it's, again, another income stream to diversify your portfolio. Roberto, give us a good month for you.
All right, so like a really good month is closer to like what I did in both January and February at the beginning of this year, where I was crushing it because I uploaded 7 videos in January and I uploaded 6 videos in February. And so that January was $6,812.89, so almost $7,000. And then February, and by the way, January is usually a slump month when it comes to YouTube ad revenues, just so everyone knows. But in February, I did $6,317 with 6 uploads, so not a fluke. So I know that if I do it's like, and like I think 2 of those were live streams on each of those. So the thing is, I know that if I were to be consistent, Benji, and not miss a week, and I upload at least once a week, live stream at least once a week for an entire month, so that I have like 8 pieces of content that are solid pieces of content, I know I will do handsomely well in YouTube AdSense if I were to actually do 2 uploads a week and a live stream every week, or 3 uploads a week. I know that I could do maybe as much as like 10,000 in a month if I did that, just based on the math. And I don't have to hit 1 million views to do any of that. I have to hit about 500,000 views to do about $7,000 at this point in ad revenue alone. And obviously those things also help with affiliate, more with getting new members, more with the e-commerce side, getting new coaching clients, all of it. And then, of course, we haven't even talked about brand deals in this conversation, but that's what helps with a good month. What my 2020 looked like, Benji, was from all my income streams, I did $25,000 a month average across all my income streams. I did $300,000 in 2020, which sounds immodest to say, especially in a year that a lot of people lost jobs in a pandemic. But sure. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it to say this is what's possible for someone like me who used to make $30,000 a year working a job that I didn't really love because of the people. I liked what I did. I didn't like the people I worked for or worked with most of the time. And so when you think about, I could in less than a decade go from making, $30,000 a year to making $300,000 a year doing things I actually like. That's a significant transformation in life, but it's about, a really good 8-10 years of grinding.
Yeah. And by the way, it's so interesting how we started this with a disagreement, even though I think we both 100% agree on this point. It does take a while, right? All these things, I think affiliates you can get going right away if you make a banger of a video and it's just a perfect product review. And it's a great segue to the video that I found of you that I was watching a little bit earlier. Neutrally, go ahead and put that up on screen. I don't know if people will be able to hear this, but this is the video was referring to. This is you in 2011. Go ahead, Neutrally. You can bring it up. I don't know if it's going to play or not. There you go. So you're so this is a little bit different, but still, the point is this: when you made this, probably about 2011-ish, or similarly. Did you ever think,
like 10 years ago.
Did you ever think that you would have a 30 grand per month in my video business?
No, I did not believe that back then. I didn't believe that was in the cards. Like not without being like 50, not without being like 50 and having a company with a bunch of people running around and, having all the gray hair and all that. Like, no, I did not. I don't even think I'll be like fully gray hair at 50 and like at this point.
Yeah, and did you know that the creator economy, or specifically content creators in the creator economy, is the #1 growing industry in the world right now?
Yeah.
And even though I know that you're trying to grow your team because you want to scale up, one of the things I love about talking to you with is the fact that you are basically a solopreneur, at least to like the recent few years.
For most of my career, I got to 6 figures as a solopreneur.
And that's the difference with YouTube as a platform, on top of AdSense, on top of affiliates, on top of the digital courses, on all these different tools that you can use. You mentioned even brand deals. You start stacking this stuff, right? And you as a single person can manage a business that's doing multiple 5 figures. And that's exactly why I had this conversation. I do have one more question for you before you get to we get to Q&A. Is there anything else you want to add?
Brand deals. So I'm at a point where it's looking like about $100,000 a year in brand deals, but that's through very strategic relationships. And I would say the thing that a lot of people are pursuing aside from AdSense, especially when it's inconsistent or it doesn't feel enough and they want something stable, is they look at brand deals. Now, I've actually done a lot of videos on my channel about brand deals specifically. They don't necessarily pull a lot of views, but I guess it's not something a lot of people feel they're ready to pursue. But you can do very well with brand deals while still being very authentic, and you just have to be very specific and particular about your partnerships, and you have to learn the ropes and you have to learn how to negotiate. If you are a smaller channel, a smaller content creator, and you get into brand deals and you don't know how to negotiate, and you don't understand the business, and you don't understand how to value yourself, your content, and what your work is, you will get taken advantage of one way or another. And even if you're a smaller YouTuber, there's so many instances when you can do that, Benji, because like one of the other reasons AdSense was not great for me, this might have actually been why I started helping content creators, because I didn't really make videos helping content creators till well after I had like 30,000 is when I first made the first YouTube help video I ever made, is I had 30,000 subscribers. I didn't really lean into it probably until I had 100,000 subscribers already. And I can tell you that it was probably because I got into a multi-channel network deal, Benji, that took 50% of my money for 2 years.
Wow.
And it was the 2 years that I had the most growth in my early YouTube career.
Wow. 50%
because in those
of
2
your
years,
AdSense?
I went from having about 14,000 subscribers to having 100,000 subscribers.
Was it 50% of your AdSense or brand deals?
50% of my AdSense.
Dang.
And it's because they promised to help me get brand deals and promised to help me get collaborations, and they never really did.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately,
and they got 50% of the AdSense I was getting.
Yeah,
for 2 years.
that whole season of MCNs, by the way, now you should not share your AdSense with anybody. I don't care where you're at, unless they ink guarantees of what they're going to pay you, which is very rare unless you've got a huge audience.
In which case you probably don't need them.
Exactly, right? It's funny. They need you. And one thing I always say about just brand deals in general, and I think that MCNs go hand in hand with this, is they need you more than you need them. Roberto is a great example of, one, a mistake of sharing some of that revenue, but two, ultimately not needing anybody to have the success. Of course, respect to anybody that did help you along the way. If you did any collaborations, obviously respect to the sponsors that do work with you, but it's them wanting to work with you. Of course, there's strategic relationships, but it all starts with the views. Secondly, it is about the audience in your community. And Roberto has such a raving fandom in terms of his community, and that is what the sponsors want to tap into. And the same thing with the MCNs. One of the I'll tell you a little dirty secret of the MCN world, everyone, why you don't want to get into it and why they'll talk this big talk. Their goal is to get as many people onto their roster as possible to make that portfolio look really impressive so they can go and sell it. So they can show like, hey, we're connected in this huge network of channels, and they don't actually really, by the way, I'm making a general statement here. I'm sure there are some MCNs. We were part of one of those MCNs that let us keep 100% of our income, right? But generally speaking, this is why I don't think the MCN model, even for them, worked out inevitably, is because it was a big money grab for them. And we know this because it's public. Some of these MCNs have been in the news and they made tons of money, and a majority
they just keep raising money from investors, and then they sell it off, and then the next person who gets it does the exact same thing, and it's all this news about how much it's sold for, so then its value goes up, and it's another round of raises, and then they sell it to the next person. So it's this pyramid scheme built on a Ponzi scheme.
There you go. So that's a bonus tip for anybody that gets approached by MCN. I'd say for 99% of people, doesn't make sense. You do not need it. They're going to tell you all kinds of stuff, but none of that matters until it's inked. So I want to acknowledge some people. We've got some regulars here. Mr. Camera Junkie, A+ Russian, Road to Finish. Shout out to everybody on Clubhouse. Go ahead and raise your hand now because we are about to start the Q&A section. But my last question for you, Roberto, in terms of monetization is this. For somebody that's just starting out, or maybe like even a seasoned creator who's trying to figure out what monetization model they should implement into their channel, into their niche or genre, what are some of the things to consider to choose the monetization strategy? Because in the beginning, it's kind of hard to juggle so many different income models when you don't have any at all, right? Maybe no experience, you have no context, maybe you don't have a lot of business experience. What's your advice for somebody to pick the monetization strategies that match what you're doing on YouTube?
I'm going to tell you straight up, Benji, that they need to look at services and affiliate and then the royalty commissions from YouTube or whatever, because then the reason I say that is this. Cash flow is king. Mm-hmm. Cash flow is king when you're starting out and you're bootstrapping and you're broke, because I've lived it long enough. I can tell you, I'm not going to like BS anyone or paint any fancies for them. When you're starting out and you don't have a lot of money and you're broke, cash flow means everything in the world to you. Even if you're not broke and you are starting a business venture on the side and you work a 9-to-5 job and you're a professional and you have good money, if you're going to take time to put into something that's not going to be either for your own personal development or for your family. If you're going to take time away from your kids, if you're going to take time away from your significant other, if you're going to take time away from building yourself up to go after something that you want, cash flow is king. And the fastest cash flow method is the services. It's doing freelancing. It's doing stuff like Fiverr, or even doing gig work if you don't have a creative skill that you think is good enough yet, or that the market hasn't said is good enough. Doing DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, there's no shame in it to go ahead and use that to finance buying the camera gear that you want to upgrade to, or to be able to hire a video editor if that's not your skill set, or to take your course or to go to a seminar, whatever you want to do to learn this stuff, if that's how you learn. If whatever you have to do to invest in this, the cash flow is the real key to this, and you need to be able to justify the time that you're taking away, and cash flow allows you to do that, especially when you're not getting a lot of views at first. So that's why I think to get into the creator economy, the realistic foundation for most people is to offer a service online from the skills that they have already and try to get paid for that in a way that is not an hourly wage, so they can separate their time from money and get paid for results instead. So that's where I would start. After that, it's affiliate, because you don't have to make a product yourself.
Can I add something to that?
Minimal skills, and you can just learn to be a better salesperson, or learn to make better tutorials or product reviews. You can learn to be useful without having to be at a high level of skill to be able to make a product of your own. And you can get those good commissions, whether it's $5 on Audible. You have that. There are other things like web hosting, getting people to sign up for websites. You can make $60 to $100 between Bluehost or Skillshare or Wix for every paid sign up. But the problem is that those things pay out 30 or 60 days later. So again, it's another cash flow issue. Good news is you can also sign up for multiple affiliate programs. So instead of getting one paycheck, maybe you're getting 5 paychecks. Even if it's very little, it could add up, and you could always stack it over time, combining with that with services. And then after that is stuff like AdSense. After that, I think it's stuff like AdSense and maybe like donation streaming and things like that. Things like Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal.me or Patreon, potentially is another one. So like that's kind of the order that I think of things in, is because of cash flow and consistency. I think is the biggest anxiety point for people just starting, is cash flow and consistency. And also reasonably, sometimes you have to be able to justify this to your family, whether that's your parents or your significant other, or justify it to yourself if you're taking time away from them.
Dropping wisdom. I was going to say one thing, why that first tip is so good and practical, because the cash flow is really to get time freedom to be able to commit to this thing we call YouTube. Because when you have more time, you can explore what other income opportunities are going to fit with you. And more importantly, you can make more videos. I tell people that even just being, like you said, nothing wrong with Uber Eats or doing some kind of like contract work. The best thing to do, though, is to create income within the niche that you're in. So say you've got a full-time job. I'd rather take a pay cut and do contract work around the niche that my channel is about. So like you said, if you're a graphic designer just on the side, but maybe you're working at like a legit salary job somewhere else, but has nothing to do with your YouTube channel. If you want to make the commitment, going all in is okay. Just try to create that cash flow so that, one, you can survive. Because there's nothing worse than having to go back to the job, go back to 40 hours a week. And so if you can just get by, you can start planting those seeds on your YouTube channel for other opportunities down the road. But I think that is a great piece of advice for people. Anything else you want to add? And then my second question on top of that would be, once you get going and you do have that cash flow, talk about, how do you figure out which one works for you? Because of course, I think it makes sense for anyone can do affiliates. Anything else you'd want to add there?
Play to your strengths and play to your skills. You can watch all of my how to make money. I'm actually about to make how I spend my $25,000 a month income, and then I'm going to make a video about how much I pay in taxes on it. But what I would say is, first of all, if you start succeeding, definitely learn about how to pay taxes properly, and just hire an accountant and a CPA and all that good stuff. But I would say that one of the things is, you can look at other people's business models, but you have to be honest with yourself about playing to your strengths. So I obviously watch you and Sean and even our good friend Pat Flynn and Vanessa Lau and Jade, and how everybody, I know how everybody makes their money. And I know you guys have talked with me privately about how you make your money, and you have to play to your skills and your strengths, but also your personality.
Yep.
I had to come around, and I actually, believe it or not, I had to be brought around and convinced that the next step for me is to build a course, because the thing is, I actually do believe in online courses. I understand the skepticism around them, and I just like, because like I watch like some stuff, and I watch like people like be so like cynical about it. It made it a turn off for me, but I actually really believe in the value of it. So I had to get to a place where I was comfortable to do something I'm believing in that's going to make money. So one of the things I would say is you have to be able to not only play to your strengths, your skills, and your personality, but also look at what your boundaries are, what your integrity looks like to you as far as how do I do this? The same thing I do with my brand deals is I only work with companies that I actually like and believe in and I feel are in the best interest of my audience. I've been offered so much money, Benji. I've turned down hundreds of thousands of dollars, like, you know, and it's because I'm truly invested in the well-being of my audience. And I think that's the only way to run a proper business, is to be invested in the well-being of your consumer. So when it comes to, well, what do you pick what's right for you? You have to think about, well, what are my personal boundaries in terms of what feels good and what feels right and what feels ethical? And then also what realistically can I do consistently and do well and feel proud of like what I'm making and what I'm doing. And I think that that's really important. And also just not, I guess, overburdening yourself with what you think you're supposed to do versus what actually makes sense.
Word. Yeah. And great advice, obviously, for anybody. First off, you got to just survive. You got to get those bills paid. That cash flow is king. And secondly, make sure that you're working on the monetization strategy that fits for you, because yeah, there's nothing worse than doing something you hate, right? And so there's so many different monetization strategies that you can apply to different businesses. And so by the way, we're going to start bringing people on. If you're watching this on YouTube, the replay, we do the live question Q&A free for anybody, but the replays are for VI members only club. So it's exclusive. So make sure you join by hitting that join button down below. But with that being said, make sure you guys go check out Roberto's channel. It's one of the best in the business when it comes to monetizing, especially as a beginner, as a solopreneur, as somebody that's in like some kind of design work or in the artistic field. And you're trying to make that transition from just doing contract work out in the world to becoming a content creator and making YouTube your full-time thing.